A history of police violence in America. Capitol Police officers' mostly peaceful restraint in responding to the Trump-incited mob that overtook the U.S. Capitol building January 6 stands in stark contrast to police behavior during 2020's Black Lives Matter protests. Sparse law enforcement presence and gentle handling of insurrectionists violently forcing their way into the Capitol highlight racist double standards illuminated last year by Black Lives Matter protesters, who were frequently met with militarized police utilizing tear gas, pepper spray, rubber bullets, and batons in response to activities including a violin vigil for Elijah McClain, walking on the sidewalk in Buffalo, New York during a daytime protest, and residents standing on their porches in Minneapolis in the days following the murder of George Floyd. At the Capitol yesterday, videos show police with riot shields attempting to stop the mob from entering at some entrances, while other videos show police allowing the insurgents through gates and granting them access to the building, posing for selfies, and calmly escorting members of the mob out. The New York Times reported that officers tried to reason with the crowd and, when asked why they weren't expelling the protesters, the officer said, "We've just got to let them do their thing now." 13 people were arrested during the actual occupation of the Capitol building. That number grew to a little over 50 as the day wore on. By contrast, an inauguration protest on January 20, 2017 resulted in more than 200 arrests, and some 14,000 people are estimated to have been arrested during 2020's Black Lives Matter protests altogether. In light of these contrasts, Stacker compiled a list of 50 chronological events showing the history of police violence in the United States. This report highlights policies, organizations, and events that explore how they relate to police brutality, institutionalized discrimination, and the loss of lives. Our research is based on news articles, government reports, and historical documentation including primary sources. Multiple methods that encourage racial division within the system have been enforced and continue to show up in statistics over the years. Police killed 1,114 people in 2020 alone, according to Mapping Police Violence, MPV. And despite making up only 13% of the American population, Black people make up 28% of people killed by law enforcement. Black people are 3 times more likely to be killed by a policeman, despite being 1.3 times more likely to be unarmed. Black lives are being taken in stark numbers, but 99% of policemen have not been charged with related crimes, according to MPV. The day before anti-democracy insurgents stormed the Capitol by force, the prosecutor in Kenosha, Wisconsin declined to charge Rustin Sheskey, the police officer who shot and partially paralyzed Jacob Blake, a black man. Cell phone video shows Sheskey shooting Blake in the back 7 times as Blake tried to move away from the officer. From the beginning, discrimination was institutionalized in political and economic spaces. The need to inflict forced labor on black lives after slavery was the main objective for the original police force in the South. This is where force was ingrained into police tactics, as hate groups such as the Ku Klux Klan merged with the system. Generation after generation, new rules are put into place specifically to target the black population including segregation, incarceration, voter suppression, redlining, and lack of government assistance, and economic infrastructure. Statistically, in reported incidents alone, black people's experiences with the criminal justice system have always been vastly different from those of other groups. Keep reading to learn more about the history of police violence in America, from 18th-century slave patrols in South Carolina to 2020's calls for defunding the police.